The title is Creating Content for Social Media, and today I'm focusing on Instagram and Facebook. So today's goal is to learn how to navigate using Canva to create content for Facebook and Instagram. So I just want to give everybody the tools to be able to do that. So what is Canva? I got this from Wikipedia. Canva is a graphic design platform that allows users to create social media graphics, presentations, posters, documents, and other visual content. Users can choose from many professional design templates and edit the designs and upload their own photos through a drag and drop interface. So what Canva is basically it made something that was difficult. Like before you had to use Photoshop and Illustrator to be able to create these contents, but now they have already preset pictures and images that you can use, and you can kind of just drag and kind of arrange them the way you want them to look. Oh, and so I'm going to go through some basic design principles. It's not completely comprehensive, but these are some that I thought were very important. So the first one is contrast. So there are many ways that you can add contrast to your images. So there's color, hue, movement, shape, size, space, temperature, and texture. For example, if you look at this image on the right, you can see that the background is like a lighter color, and then the words are darker color, so it's very easy to read the words. For example here, the top one, it says it's bad contrast because the color is very similar in the sense that they're both very strong colors. So it makes it very difficult for you to be able to read it. But however, the one below it, the color is very light in the background, and in the foreground it's very strong, so it's very easy to read it when you first look at the image. So there are other ways you can add contrast to your graphic, and you can vary them however you want to, but I think contrast is very important because you want people to be able to read whatever you make very clearly. So a resource that I sometimes use to find color is there's a website called color.adobe.com. So it shows you images and it shows you the color schemes that the image has. So if I'm creating something and I want something closely related, then I might choose like these lighter to darker colors. So then when I'm picking the colors, I can like use the exact same color that is in this color scheme. So sometimes you just need ideas, and you can just use this to find colors that if you're not very confident in choosing the different colors. But they're not all great, I think, but there's some that will stand out to you. And so another one is balance. So in this image, there's a photo to the right, but to the left, it's a very like light background. So there's a balance to this page. So I think also having white space is important because your eyes are drawn to these words, but the image is also highlighted to the right. And another important thing is emphasis. So in this image below, the background was purposely made darker so that the words that are written here, build something, is what you really see. Even though that you can kind of see the image of the people working in a team, what your eyes are first drawn to is build something. So how you can do that is there's something called like opacity, so you can decrease how visible a photo is so that the font in the front comes out stronger. And I also just learned this, their proportions. So I just learned that a bad proportion is something that is equal. So this has equally yellow and white. But apparently equal division creates monotony. So it looks very like boring. And then this one has two unequal proportions. So this division also creates a lack of harmony. So this proportion is kind of like 2/3 yellow and 1/3 white. So they say that these are good proportions. And fonts, I feel like this is very important when we make graphics. This one says, using too many fonts will make your message overcomplicated and difficult to understand. So using just 2 fonts or 3 fonts makes your message much more clear and concise for an easier read. I think that's very important, especially as we make graphics now. We want to limit to 1 or 2, I heard 3 maximum fonts. When you have too many fonts going on the same image, it makes it very like busy, that you don't know what is important because there's too many variables going on. And even when you're using one font, you can still vary it using like different sizes, and you can make it bold or italicize certain words, but it really makes it more cohesive just using 2 or 3 fonts. Okay, so some tips I was thinking is at the end when you make it, is the text legible? Are the words big enough for your purpose when you finish creating something? Is there enough contrast so that you're able to see like what you want the person who sees your image to see? And how is the spacing between the word and between the lines? Because you can also adjust the spaces between each letter and each of the lines. And I think it's also important to use high resolution images and graphics if you have access to them, because if you want to print them out, it's more important to be able to so that the images aren't very like blurry or grainy. And also, so I said make sure the text isn't too small here because it's very difficult to see. And also make sure there's space from the edge to the text, because when it's like close to the edge, I think, well, especially when you print it, it could get cut off, but it's also, you don't want it to be too close to the top or to the sides. So this is step 1. When you make, especially with the free Canva account, I realized that you can't change the dimensions when you already create it. So it's really important to know what you're creating your image for. So for example, like the post for an Instagram will be a square. However, when you make an Instagram story, that's the size of your phone screen. So it's 1080 by 920 pixels. But if you make a Facebook post, it said the ideal ratio was 940 to 788. And if you're making a Facebook cover, it'll be 2050 times 780 pixels. So it's really important to be able to choose it, because if you don't choose the right dimensions, then later on when you post it, it will be cut off. Okay, so now I'm going to switch to the actual Canva website. Can everyone see this? Okay. Okay. So how you start is that you first see this button. It says create a design. So you can see like there's so many things you can create. It says animated, social media, presentation, Instagram post. Actually, I made the presentation on Canva because I wanted to see how I could use it. So there you can make a poster, video, Facebook post, cover, flyer. I'm just gonna create, just say a poster. So actually I'm using a pro account, so maybe you won't have access to everything, but it usually says like free if it's free, and pro if it's pro, and if it's pro then you can't use the elements with your free account. But yeah, when you first get here on the left, this is templates. So I feel like they have really good templates that are already made. So let's say we were having a harvest festival this year, then I could put fall, and I'll just choose this one. So then it has this template already, and then you could change it by putting harvest. But then obviously you see like the leaves are covering it, so you can change the size here. Okay, so I'll just go through each element first. So okay, left, there's a template. There's a button that says upload. So if you have your own images, like you want to use for your background, then you can upload it here, and then you can use them to create anything. And there's also photos that they have. So if you were searching for something, let's say, I don't know, pumpkins, then all the images related to pumpkins will show up. And then there's also elements. If you want to find elements to put on your graphic, you can say like, since we're going with the Harvest Festival, I can look for leaves, and these are green leaves. So I could put leaves, fall, and then there will be different images, and if you like something, you can click on it and it'll just appear. And you can rotate images like this however you want to, and you can also flip it and flip it this way. But if you don't like it anymore, you can press this trash button right here, delete, or you can just press backspace and that will also delete it. And then the next one is text. You can add a heading, subheading, or text. So I'll just show you. So text, let's say we want to put Harvest Festival. So with the text, you have to highlight it. And then when you click here, it allows you to choose from so many texts. I think half of them might be pro, but there's a lot of good fonts for you to be able to choose. Like for example, and with the text, you can increase the size right here. Unfortunately, I don't think you can scroll it. So if you go above this amount, you can just type it like this. And then you can change the color of the text as well. And they will actually show you the document colors. So these are the colors that are already found in the document. So this is the same brown as this, but you can also choose your own colors by moving it. And I'm not sure if these numbers correlate to other numbers found in other websites, but these are the exact colors. And then you can also change the middle. So this one is you center it, and this one is centered to the left alignment. And then this one is just full, like when you write newspapers, they have this one, this alignment. There's also bullets here, and you can also change the distance from each letter. So you can see that the letter space in between each letter can increase and decrease, and the line height can also increase and decrease. So you don't want them to be so close, but you don't want them to be so far either. There's also effects. You can give it a shadow, so it will have a little shadow in the bottom, but you can also change the color it leaves a shadow with. So, and then this one is, you can add a different type of shadow. It's called a lift. And hollow, that means the text is going to be clear in the middle. And then this one, I guess, kind of fills it in with giving it a shadow. And then this one. Anyway, you can go play with it later. And then there's another one that's important. This is the position. So the position is like what layer it's on. So you don't want, sometimes your text gets hidden in the back. So let's say position is in the back, then you can't, let's see. I'll work with this. Let's say your text is hidden behind these leaves, then you have to bring it forward, or you have to bring the leaves backwards. So you can put this leaf backward, and then it will go behind the text. And this one, all of these words are grouped right now. So that's also another thing you can do. You can ungroup them if you want to move each one separately. You can move each text separately. But however, if you want to group everything, because you want to move everything, then you can, let's see, you can group them. It says group right here. And once you group them, you can just move it and it won't, all of them will follow with you. But I think everyone should know that because it's also available on PowerPoint. You can group things. And you can also increase and decrease the size when it's grouped. But if you want to move something specific to it, then you have to ungroup them. Let's say I want to move the leaves, then I have to ungroup it. And you can also use your keyboard. Like if you want to move them just slightly, you can like go left, right, above. Yep. And then let's see, styles. I'm not really sure what this one is, but I guess you can choose a style and it will change everything with that style that you chose. And then there's videos. I think the video team might be interested in this. I saw that you can create videos on here, but I don't know much about it. And these are backgrounds. You can change the background of this. Let's say, what do we say, fall? I guess it doesn't have fall, but so if you see any images and you want to change it, you can change it there. Oh, and that's the thing with images too. So when you have images, there's this button here that's called transparency. So if you decrease it, it will make it less visible. And when you increase it, it'll be the most visible. But yes, I think the best part, the more you practice, then you will be able to learn how to use it. But that's just the introduction to Canva. And if you have a pro account, you can resize it right here, up here. But I think if you have a free account, you aren't able to do that. And once you finish creating your image, you can undo here. You can download it here. And depending on what you need it for, you can choose a different file name. So the PNG is actually a high quality image, but a JPEG is a less quality, like a small file size. But it's fine for uploading to either Facebook or Instagram. But if you want to print it, you might need to download it in PDF. And SVG is a vector graphic that's used for Illustrator. And you can also download MP4s.